Okay, I just saw you playing out there, and you look real good. Who are you?
Well, you know, I'm Mrs. Gankisa. I'm the best footballer point ever see.
Oh, really? You, you know any of the older players who play here in Point?
Well, I know Warren Archibald, Leroy Dillion.
Stop. You know me?
Hmm?
Boy, I was the best striker, the best forward that this country ever seen.
Oh, Wilfred K.
Boy, I'm Steve David, boy. Welcome, viewers. You're tuned into Field of Dreams on Axe Television Network. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host. And today we talk football as usual. And I want to introduce you to the new Caribbean League football. And I've got a special guest today that would take us through the plans to develop the Caribbean League football here in Trinidad and Tobago. And let me take time to introduce him. And his name is Chris Anderson. Welcome, Chris.
Welcome. Thank you, Steve.
Good to have you. And tell our viewers a little bit about Chris Anderson, who he is, so they can be familiar with who you are.
Well, it's amazing because you were always my idol as a player. I remember being a youth team player in Trinidad and Tobago, and one time our coach, Roderick Warner, was actually talking about all the great players and what have you. And the first thing I asked about Steve David, the number 10.
Right.
The last game I saw you play was against Haiti in the Oval, and I saw you score a goal with the red, and I said I want to be just like that. Okay. And I focused myself. I really did. I was a no-name entity in Trinidad football. A lot of people thought that I would have never make it anywhere. But fortunately for me, I pursue my dream to be a professional player. And as you know, I came in the NASL after you with the Toronto Blizzard as a rookie player. Got rookie of that year in 1982. Richard Chinapu did very well that year as well. And the end of that season, I had an offer to go to South Africa on a rebel tour. And you would remember that because I contacted you.
I remember. Yeah.
All right. And you all didn't come, but I went to Clyde Best, Mario Kempes, I think Gart Crooks was with us too, a lot of big name. And that was successful for us. Jomo Sono, Ace Netzelenge, David Bird. And that took my career to another plateau. And in 1983, when we came back from that rebel tour, I was offered the opportunity to go to Italy. And I went to Bari. And most Trinidadians don't know that I played in the Italian Serie A with pretty much 3 different clubs in the Serie A. I played with Bari, AS Bari, and then I went to Sampdoria in '84 with that championship team with Graham Souness as my captain and all the big names there. And then the following season, I had an injury, and then I went down to Pisa that was not doing so well in the Serie A, and they could have afforded me, and they brought me in. I stayed there, and I had my injury was so bad that I had to call it quits. So I pretty much end my career very short, a very short professional career, but I've always been involved. And because I pursue my academic, and I was successful in getting my MBA and my accounting degree, I became a forensic auditor. So Mr. Berlusconi, who met me some years before, offered to bring me in as an organization, which was the farm team to AC Milan, TNE, and brought me into the management level on the board of directors, young kid. And I was speaking decent Italian at the time, and brought me in. And from there, my career just blossomed into many different things. And now I sit on about 14 different corporation boards around the globe. Xiamen Tobacco in China, I'm on that board of directors, and I'm sitting on Bassano Calcio, which is Diesel Jeans, the owner of Diesel Jeans. I'm sitting on that board of directors. And Tony Kikas in Toronto, who is one of the most, he was a former owner of the Toronto Blizzard, Metro Croatia, when they won the NASL there. I'm sitting on his board of directors. And I'm also involved with Berlusconi Holdings, Silvio Berlusconi as well. So, you know, football to business.
Quite a busy man.
I have.
Good to have you. And you mentioned that South Africa.
Yes.
Of course, the reason why we didn't go is because at that time, it was
the
not
apartheid.
the right thing
It
to
was
do to travel to
yes,
South
yes,
Africa
yes.
and
Was
come
not
back,
was not the right thing to do.
Yeah, so that's why. And also to my left, as usual, I've got my buddy and comrade, Narada Wilson. Welcome to the show, Narada.
It's a pleasure to always be here and to assist you in this program.
You ever heard of Chris?
To be quite honest, only recently. Prior to that, with all the history that he's given us, is not a name that I'm 100% familiar with.
Right.
Which is strange, but...
By the end of the show, you would. By the end of the show, you would know who he is, and he's special guy. And I know Chris for a very long time, back in the NASL days.
Right.
So, Chris, so I know the Caribbean League football, they've tried this before, haven't they?
Well, they have tried similar. I mean, they have, but the concept is different because the concept is really my brainchild, the single entity concept.
Right.
You know, it was my final paper when I was doing my MBA in University of Toronto. So I'm very much enthused about the concept. So it's a different business model altogether.
Right, and that's what I want you to bring out to my viewers, because somebody is going to say, oh, they tried this already before.
Right.
So this is different. And so explain to the viewers, how is this different from what they tried before?
Well, first is the business model in totality. This is a single entity concept, which meaning that the league in itself will own the majority of the business decision and the business ownership of the clubs. You will have investors investing into the clubs, but will not be owners of the club, outright owners of the club, or have any outrageous directive of the clubs. All the business decision, management of players, selling of players, hiring of coaches, paying salaries and what have you, all the business aspect of it is handled one entity, and that's the league. So it's a very viable business plan. And again, we did not design a football league. What we designed is a holistic business opportunity here. We are interested in developing a conglomerate of business with the inclusion of football, because that is where we'll have our longevity and sustainability.
And football is just a small part of this whole business that you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the league will be driven.
Right.
It will be driven by the football, but then we have the real estate aspect of it. We have the other entertainment aspect of it. Because in today's business, you realize that football, even when they're hosting the World Cup, you always have all these tailgate parties and whatnot. Football is sport, it is entertainment. I mean, it is made for TV. This league is made for TV, pretty much, and this is what it'll be. Because the broadcasting of football is one thing. Now you have reality shows, so why can't you not have a reality TV show with the players, with the coaches, and the live fans?
Right. So
the fans have to be connected, and the players have to be. We are in a celebrity environment today with all the electronic gadgets and all the various technology that's available. So we have to utilize that and see how we can make that be part of the sport going forward, in my opinion.
Narada, I know you are a very intelligent, smart, aggressive businessman, kind of. And I know you have questions.
Yeah. Just touching on the fact that you spoke about it being a holistic approach. One of the first things for you probably that you don't know is that I worked with FIFA World Cup in 2014. So I was based in Brazil for the last couple of years with that. Taking care of that project, a lot goes into it. You're talking hotels, you're talking, stadia, you're talking the players. Just as you say, it's a lot of investment and a lot of other things that you would tap into. Is Trinidad and Tobago ready for something like that? Do we have the hotel capacity to take care of players for a long period of time? Because it wouldn't just be a 1 day or 1 week event. Do we have the infrastructure in place for that? Have you done the research to ensure that we have things like that in order? Or do you think we're far off from it during the period of time that you think it could be possible for this to be achieved?
All right, let me say, the fact that everything you have touched on is very much relevant, and it's fact. We have been doing the research for this throughout the Caribbean and Central America for the past 17 years.
Okay.
So it have now trickled down to be the CLF, but it was many things before that, but it wasn't at the right time to go forward. I think we do have the ability to succeed in Trinidad with this, because in the English speaking Caribbean, we are the marquee. Trinidad and Tobago we are the biggest, and there is certain things that have to be done, and my team is here on the ground right now with me, and there's things that we are in negotiation with that I don't want to comment too much on.
Fair enough.
But we do have the hotel capacity. That's one thing. And you have to remember too that in 2000 we hosted a World Cup under 17. So a lot of the infrastructure that was, it built a long time. Our problem here is maintenance. And so we build things, but we don't maintain things properly. Our long-term goal by 2018 is to have our own stadium, our own facility, and our hotels as well. Our investors are here on the ground with us right now, and they're doing their own due diligence. And so far, during the game last night, some things was whispered in my ears, and they are extremely happy in the last few days from what they see, and the potential. The potential is there.
Yeah.
So I believe that, once we have created the end product for the fans, that will motivate even my investors and myself even more so, because it will give me more confidence. And I think the fans are ready for something that is totally different than what they have. I mean, you had the fans are enjoying the CPL T20 cricket. You see they come out. There's a reason why they want to host the finals here and what have you, because the atmosphere. Trinidadians are very sport-oriented, very entertainment-oriented, and I think bringing the two together and that synergy, that platform, I think it will erupt. I do believe that.
And your league actually is not going to be competing or running during the same time as our professional league as well?
No, that was one of the consideration. I mean, I've had many conversations, many debates with the FA, and I've spoken. I'm also involved with one of the pro league clubs, as you know, in Trinidad. I'm not going to mention the name, but I am involved and behind the scenes. And one of the things that we have been talking about is not to create an environment where we creating a more competitive situation with this new product. It must enhance it, but not destroy it. So I am to my own desire. I created a scheduling that does not compete at all with the local pro league. This league has to enhance what we have already. What we have already is something that, I mean, these guys invest in the pro league for a number of years. And no one, if I were in their situation, I would want to protect my business interests. But I'm not here for that. I'm here to help and develop. Because we were just speaking early on, the players who is playing in the TT Pro League, the league in itself, as you know, is subsidized by the government, what have you, and have been for a number of years. And that, to me, there's no longevity in that, sustainability in that. What we want to do is, during the off period of the players, when the Pro League is not functioning, then the players now have something to be part of that is a larger-than-life type concept. That when they come back to the Pro League, they're even more exposed to professionalism on a more regular basis. And that's what we want to do, pay the players a decent wage, so that they can take care of themselves and take care of the family more, rather than going out there and playing in markets, Vietnam and, all these Thailand and all these markets where the environment is not of the best for professional development. And I think that this league is going to create that environment. Eventually we will turn into a more longer league, a summer season and a winter season, but we will deal with that 3 years from now,
Okay,
I like the idea he says enhance our league because we need some enhancement in our league, right? Our professional league.
I think the plus with something like that, based on what you're saying, I was estimating the time frame is somewhere between May and August because of the fact that that's where we have the longest break.
Right.
What it also does is probably contribute to the national team because now the players, where they would have had the 3-month break, probably not playing as much football because of how our season is run, they now have another opportunity to keep active.
Correct.
Right? I guess also, as you say, in the environment, and this is because of me working with players, I always bring in foreign players because my thing is that I need to create the environment for our locals to increase their level of football. But now you're giving them opportunity to stay here.
Correct.
But me bringing 1 or 2, you know, probably bringing an entire league.
Right.
Where 24 hours they're going to be in this environment. Would it, if financially it benefits the player, does this trickle down now to the clubs as well? In it benefiting the clubs, and do you have a plan also that contributes to the clubs, you know, whether it be to now have their facilities, maybe have more money to do other things, you know, if you could share some light on what you think you give to the
Steve,
clubs.
where did you get this guy? I got to bring you on my team.
Yeah.
You're a pretty bright guy. You're a pretty
Thanks
bright
very
guy. I mean, this is exactly what the conversation I want to have. This is the fact sheet, pretty much. So you're pretty much touching on my fact sheet because this is what I want to share with the team owners, team management, and whatnot. There's nothing to worry about. What I would like to do, and I would like to have the opportunity to sit with all owners and management of the Pro League teams and even the Super League clubs, is that this league, at some point in time, and I think I would say, I can commit and say, yes, we would be interested in doing a short loan. Players that are on contract, we will be interested in doing a short loan with the club so that during that off-season period, that salary that you would have to pay the players, we would now pay that players a salary, and then we would pay you a percentage of that to your club. So your club would be benefiting. So the Pro League clubs domestically now could have a loan financial income coming back, you know,
Right.
benefiting them on the off-season rather than just paying out salaries to players. That is just training during that long break, as you have so put it. So yes, the clubs will benefit in that arena, and I'm ready and willing to sit with the clubs. Okay, my management people will do that. I may not do that directly, but my people would be doing that. But that is something that I'll be instructed my people to do because I think that's important. The clubs in itself have to benefit, and they should. You know, and the players benefiting, the clubs benefiting, even the coaches that is coaching in this league will have an opportunity to be assistant coaches in our league on short-term contracts.
Right.
What we're doing to enhance the property and the brand even more so is that we are bringing larger-than-life legends to come. I mean, my good friend who I played with for a short time in Italy, Diego Maradona, just heard that he had bypass surgery, you know, and I wish him the best. I spoke to our former agent a couple of days ago on it, and Diego have already agreed in principle to come in to coach the Cuba franchise. That was attractive for us to coach the Cuba franchise. So we were, you know, assistant coach to him will be a local, okay? We are looking at going after, you know, René Simões we are in talks already with him to coach, you know, one of the franchises as well in league. His assistant will be a domestic coach. See, so the way that we have structured this is that the domestic coaches will come in as assistant coaches. You know, we have had primary talk with, you know, Ron Lafferty, Gally Cummins, you know, and these other guys, you know, to be part of the thing. Because I think one of the other things that we will be focusing on is to do like similar to what the NBA does and the NFL does. For too long, Steve, yourself, myself, Richard Chinapu, Gally, everybody, that played the game at a high level outside. When you come back home, you retire and you come back home, it's like you never existed. The focus is now on the younger kids. Well, that's fine. But the system have to look at it and say, well, how can we utilize the older talents and make great contribution to the game? How can we use them to enhance the younger players now? And this is one of the things that I am doing, because for this league, I am creating what you call the Legends Player Committees, so that you guys will select part of a selection committee to select the first 250 players that will be in place in the draft. And then the coach will have that, but you all will be contracted to be part of the advisory committee to the coaches. because it's not just Trinidad, it's players from all over.
I like where you're going with that, but let's take a break.
Okay.
And when you come back, you would take it into further what we're doing with the legendary players,
Yes.
and also the players that we're bringing in to attract.
Yes.
Things. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. You watching Field of Dreams, and this is Axe Television Network. Chris, before the break, we were talking about the players that we want to bring in, the marquee players to enhance the league, and also the legendary players who can also lend a hand in contributing something to this thing. I'll let you continue down that road.
Yeah. As I was saying before the break, the objective is really to have the legend players, not just from Trinidad and Tobago, but from the Pan-Caribbean and even beyond the boundaries. You know, guys who I played with, Abidi Pele from Ghana, who, you know, is one of Ghana and Africa's best players. Joe Mosono, unfortunately my ex-teammate Ace Netzelenge is no longer with us. He would have been a prime one to have as well.
Ace, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We have Marco Desai, Turam, Edgar Davies, you know, Clivert. I'm trying to get everybody. I've reached out to everyone, and the support is phenomenal. What I was saying is to have these guys in a selection panel to assist the coaches in selecting the best players for the draft. And that draft night would be something that would be phenomenal. One of the other things that I'm doing is in order for Trinidad and Caribbean football to develop, you need the infusion of Latin America. Now, let's be honest, Caribbean football cannot develop. Trinidad football is not going to develop more than it have developed if we don't expose our players to our territory. That we have to compete every 4 years, every 3 years actually. So we must have an infusion of Central American players to play in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, so that our players could climatize and understand the style of play and what they relate to, what disturbs them in the game and whatnot. So having a high percentage of Central American players in this league will be one of my objectives, you know.
And just because you touched on that, it's something I was just remembering is that the English-speaking Caribbean is actually only about 6 million, or something like that.
Exactly.
In comparison to the Spanish-speaking, French-speaking and stuff, which contribute to the larger portion
Exactly.
in the 40 million or so of us in this side. But because you touched on that, you did mention something with Panama. So now I'm wondering, are your franchises associated with some of the countries? And if you could state what some of the countries are that you're looking at,
well,
investors involved.
the way we have designed this is very unique. We try to take control of everything. So what we have done is, we select the countries that we are targeting for the caliber players that they could bring to the table domestically.
Yeah.
And one of the rules is that in this league, for the first 3 years, the Trinidad franchise would have 60% of Trinidad talent. All other franchises in this league will have 40% of Trinidad players on it. Okay. And then 40% of players from that country which that franchise is branded after. And the other 20% will be international foreign players, right. 19%, and then the 1% will be the marquee player. So we are giving each franchise one marquee player, and then we'd have secondary players that is of some celebrity status of some sort, but not the marquee player as such. So that's where we'd mix it. It's all about salary structure.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we feel that, see, my main objective, and I'm a bit selfish in this because I'm a Trini, but I designed this and I told my chairman, I told my investors, look, my objective is to qualify Trinidad and Tobago, assist Trinidad and Tobago in qualifying consistently for the next 3 World Cups. So my approach was to make this so easy to integrate this in the Trinidad Development Program, so that now you have players that playing in this league, that high percentage of players playing domestically and don't have to go out there, have that readiness, you know, and playing so well together in the Trinidad franchise and even together in other franchises in the league. So you have a lot of wealth of talent there. You have a greater talent pool that is exposed to the game on a different level. You must get something good out of that. I would think that you would. So I think that will help Trinidad to have a long-term plan and to actually visualize Trinidad qualifying consistently for World Cups, because that's something that we are not able to do.
And that's exactly right. We need to have some kind of support system that would keep us going.
Yeah, we do.
From World Cup to World Cup, and it sounds like a good idea.
And I mean at all ages.
Huh?
I mean at all ages.
At all ages.
At all ages.
Sounds like
You
a good
know.
idea.
Yep.
So, like Narada, just to follow up some what Narada said, some of the Caribbean islands or countries that we're talking about would be like Jamaica and
Well, Jamaica is in the process right now. We have a Jamaican native out of the UK who is now based in Hong Kong, who is very financially sound, and they have made an application to me to be an investor in one of the franchises. And I have so far I'm entertaining that prospect. We have Panama as well, very wealthy brother and sister who is interested in investing in the Panamanian franchise. We have Cuba, and that would be Maradona and his team and what have you out of Dubai. We have Trinidad and Tobago, which I can't say who it is, but we have somebody in Trinidad who have reached out to us and have expressed their interest. But beyond that, we have many interests. I have people out of Canada, of Trinidadian descent, that are willing to come in and take the Trinidad franchise. What we have done is to explore the possibilities. Look, if we are bringing the Caribbean football, but Caribbean football cannot stand on its own. We need help, like I said, Latin America and what have you. So what we have decided, well, why not take it further and say, well, bring in North America into the Caribbean football from a branding perspective. So we have now decided to bring in a Canadian franchise and a U.S. franchise. And that would include some Canadian content and some U.S. content as well. You have a lot of marquee players now in the U.S., you know, Landon Donovan, DeMarcus Beasley. We are speaking to this boy right now, Freddie Adu, you know. We are looking at other players who are of American, but no longer playing in the elite leagues. That is out in Germany and out in the UK and whatnot. My agents are reaching out to quite a few of them, and I think we're going to get that percentage we want, and to play with the Canadian, the Trinidad content, as well as the international content. So the franchise, we have Guyana as well. We have Edgar Davies and his people. We had Clarence Seedorf and his people are interested in coming in and backing the Guyana franchise because they want to link it with Suriname. And I have said yes.
So explain to the viewers, because I'm sure you're thinking, viewers, that these franchises would be located in these countries, and that's not so.
No, that's not so.
Okay.
At least not for the first 3 years.
All right, so tell us.
Yeah, again, because of the single entity concept, and because we know as businessmen that in the first 3 years in any business, you're going to have kinks. In the Caribbean, one of the problems that previous leagues have more is because of the various territory. We have various logistic challenges in the Caribbean. One of the things that I'm seeing and I've observed, and I was very critical about, is that the CPL T20, and I said, why didn't these guys did the obvious thing and buy their own airplane? Well, one of the things, when I sat with my chairman about it, he said, Chris, you realize that the geography of the Caribbean, how are you going to make this work? And I said, I have an idea. And I went to the TTFA with it, and I sat with them and discussed and said, well, we will welcome it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So what we have done now, to answer your question directly, we have said we're going to take, in the first 3 years, no expansion until the third year. So the first 3 years, we're going to start with 9 franchises. First it was 8, and then we had a phone call from someone in Venezuela and said, no, you guys are too close to us for us not to want to have an interest in this. So actually I'm meeting with a guy tonight, actually, who have the connection with that. And so we said, okay, we'll go with 9 franchises, and all franchises will be based here.
right.
But because it's branded and it's a single entity concept and we are in control of everything, it is easy for us to do. We don't need to ask anyone permission,
Right.
a franchise owner or whatnot. We make the decision what is in the best interest for the product at the end of the day. So fans, no, the franchises for the first 3 years will be based in Trinidad, each and every franchise. We would have a caravan schedule that will go out, like we are playing, our schedule will be tentative at the moment, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And we know for certain that Friday and Saturday will be at the National Stadium in Trinidad. And if we're doing a caravan schedule, it'll be Wednesday and Thursday, which will be rotate between Tobago and Manny Ramjan Stadium and outside of, for example, Haiti, Panama, you know, that type of thing is where you're going to have the caravan schedule. We'll do like the CPL T20 pretty much, but we will do it in a much more condensed manner, much more controlled. We don't want it spread out too thin because we are building a brand, so we have to be very careful. It's beyond football now. It's, like I said, it's business, you know, and as we say in school as growing up, you know, the mathematics must add up. The maths must add up. As Bill Clinton said many years ago, the math must add up. So from that standpoint, I'm very careful in how we execute things and is micromanage this. So we are very, very, very careful to not to take on too much more, and because that's will make or break us.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be very careful in how we execute things.
I think the numbers that you're presenting in terms of the amount of teams in the league, it's ideal. It's even something that I've contested with the Pro League, that because of our population, there's only so many teams we could actually have to have structured football.
Correct.
Especially that we have 2 tiers on the TTFA with the championship and the Super League, and then we have the Pro League. So we have a lot of football happening, and now we're going to
Right.
add another one.
Right.
Seeing that everything is concentrated in Trinidad, but you're using outside influence and as well as countries that you would love to have an impact with,
Right.
means you're already looking at media. So I'm positive which is always the lifeline of most football
Exactly.
leagues. So you have plans in place for these countries to broadcast as more so their teams or the teams that carry their names, and as well as for them to see some of their players in action. Is that something that you and
Yeah,
the team have looked at
correct.
already?
Again, where you get this guy?
Sure.
This guy's right on point. Yes, to answer your question, yes. As a matter of fact, one of the major network, they have called me in the last few days when they found out I was in Trinidad. They came in late, so they couldn't see the game. And they're meeting me tonight and to discuss their partnership in it. What we are saying is that in the first 3 years, growing this franchise, you know, this brand, we are doing free to air. Our objective is to own our own network. Everything is about business. We are driven this way. This league is driven that way. So we will partner with who we have to partner, but we are driven to have our own and own our own stuff.
Chris, it's so good to have some kind of project like that forming up. That just the project alone is going to encourage the younger ones who looking into, hey, I better get my act together, my game together, so I can get into this league, and it's create more opportunities for a lot more ball players who don't have the opportunity.
Yeah, it's one of the things that motivated me, actually.
Right.
You know, I'm very conscious of my domestic football, because I know when you have players like you guys played 73, 74 World Cup, and that was always for me. That's the level I want to reach. You know, I'm one of the players, you know, that was, and you too, we never get to play in a World Cup. I never get to play in a World Cup.
Right.
But yet we make a lot of money in the game and we play on the highest stage in the game. And, you know, and I think one of the things that not too much is given and provide it to the younger kids. And when I go throughout the country in the various communities and I see what I see, it disturbs me. So I'm motivated with this because this is giving back.
Right.
Forget the business aspect of it. You know, we know where that is going, but this is giving back to the younger generation, and I think it will help. Like last night I was having a conversation with the Minister of National Security, and he said to me, you know, he said, this, your idea could pretty much save this country with the crime. Because, you know, there's one thing, because crime don't start today for today. It's something, in most times, manifested in the environment that you grew up in. And if this is bringing hope and it's bringing, you know, participation, it will help the younger kids to, you know, move away from that ill thinking, you know, and then, you know, look to focus to be more of an athlete that where they can get some serious earnings from.
I heard you talk about a stadium and building a stadium, our own stadium, and I'm sure you probably have an idea exactly where you want to put it in geographic locations that you might want to have these games played. Could you share some of that?
Yeah, without saying exactly where the location is,
right.
Which is I don't think it's fair for the negotiation right now for us to do so. But I could assure you that we're in a good place right now with talks. We are looking for a long-term lease with the land, and we will finance it. Like I said, my financier is here. We have a lot of stadiums in Trinidad and Tobago, but we don't really have football stadiums. There is no football stadium in Trinidad and Tobago. And we have a 1.2 population. Having a 22,000, and yesterday being in the stadium looking at a Trinidad game yesterday, and I had all my professional people and you know, it was there, and they were looking at me and I'm looking at them and saying, Chris, you really need to build a stadium. And I was glad, because I'm glad it happened, because my financier was here and he was saying, Chris, I'm with you. You got to build a stadium. So in a nutshell, the game yesterday, in the atmosphere, sealed my deal. And I was very pleased, because we don't have a football stadium in Trinidad, and the stadiums that we do have in Trinidad, one for me, it is not football friendly, it's not fan friendly. All right? And I hate to be this critique, but I mean, a lot of resources that we have, and we have not put it in the right place to really facilitate the sport that we love so much. You know, all of these things help the atmosphere for our players and our national team preparation and whatnot. As I said, we have a lot of fields, a lot of stadium, but in the 21st century and where we're going beyond that, we don't have. We couldn't host a major international here. We couldn't host it. I mean, we could do it if we're doing it, if we want to do it, you know, haphazard. But at the level in which first world markets and whatnot, we couldn't. And I think it's high time that we should be able to do it.
When we come back, I would tell you where I want a stadium to be built in Point Fortin. I have the exact location, and maybe Narada might have some as well. Viewers, we'll be right back after the short break. Stay tuned.
Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited offers solutions to your immediate and future potential problem areas by providing you with a qualified team of safety consultants. Worldwide Safety Consultants Limited, building a reputation on quality and value since 1999. Located 23 Todd Street, San Fernando, Trinidad. Phone 868-657-1534 or 868-788-6955. worldwidesafety@yahoo.com.
Okay, welcome back, viewers. Before the break, I was just talking to Chris about taking a stadium into Point Fortin, because when the Youth Under-17 World Cup was here, what year was that?
2001.
2001, yeah.
And they built stadiums in Maniram John, San Fernando, that's Marbella, Couva, Arima, and left out Point Fortin. And Point Fortin is supposed to be the mecca of football.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So I have the exact spot whenever you're ready that we can talk about location where that stadium could be built in Point Fortin. And you're going to get the crowds and the people who would support that.
Well, that is a conversation I wish I had with you 3 months ago. Up
Okay.
to noon, but hey,
Never too late.
nothing is sealed yet, so
Never
it's
too
never
late.
too late.
Exactly.
And I mean that's not a bad. Once we could accommodate a 35 to 55,000 seat capacity stadium, that's my interest.
More than that, I'll give you an idea. The Shell refinery in Point Fortin, we have a whole tank farm area. Old tanks just sitting there, crud, nothing in them. We can demo that whole area, and I'm talking about acres of land,
Wow.
and put a stadium on that side, and on the other side where the rest of the old refineries, that's close to Atlantic LNG as well, we can have big parking lot. I mean, you can have $100,000 seated. I mean, not $100,000, but 100,000 people
Capacity.
capacity seating accommodation. I would take you down there and I'll show you that spot. It might have a little politics with whoever owns that refinery and stuff, but we can work that out.
Well, that would be
In
interesting.
the middle of Point Fortin.
That would be interesting.
Anyway, yeah.
There's a conversation I would like to pursue.
That would be an excellent spot to go there. Okay. All right. We got coming to the end. Is there things that you haven't brought out that you would like the public to know, or you
Well,
want us to ask
one of
you?
the things that I would want the public to know is that, having said everything that we have said, there is a cost factor for it, but we will not let the cost factor dictate us putting a product in the marketplace and making it unreachable for the fans.
Right?
I think our end product would be fantastic. It would be something that the fans have never seen before in sport in this country. But our bottom line, our ticket prices would be fan friendly. I assure them of that. Would be fan friendly. And it would be positioned in such a way that it will be entertainment, 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 both on the field and off the field. Lots of party, lots of tailgate party, lot of interaction stuff. You know, it would be more or less like an expo, you know, sport expo, fest, that type of thing. So when you come out to the CLF games, you actually go into an event.
I know what you're saying. Tailgate, you want to bring a culture that we have never seen here
Exactly,
before. And you know it
exactly.
and I know it.
Yeah.
And we know what it's about. And Narada knows it as well.
I would just to pitch in where you said maybe the location. I think somewhere along the East-West corridor. I would even go as far as saying, hey, right somewhere around Grand Bazaar, that area there, because that's where all the points meet. If there's any way that something could fit somewhere, Val, say in QREP, around that area, it's always a good option. But that is just, you know, my 2 cents. In terms of the ticket prices, I was wondering something like that. No, you don't have to set any price right now. I guess you have to read the market, and probably you did already. A suggestion I would say, something to look at is probably, if the league has a 3-month, a 2-month period, 4 months, whatever the case is, to give an option of like a season pass, but with a payment plan option as well. I think it's because it's something that, you know, Trinidadians, we're not 100% accustomed to, but outside we see it. And it would actually be favorable to us, because I look at Carnival, for example, and people have 2 days entertainment and they spend over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. But the bands have started to give them options to pay it. And if we do something like that with sport, for the guy that may think, okay, I don't have, let's just use a figure, 50 US to watch a game every week. But if he knows, here what, I could pay maybe in 3 installments during the period, he may go. So, you know, I know you're probably covering everything, but that is something I look at, because I think we need dedicated fans. And the 3-month period is a short term. It's why the T20 is doing well, because it's a short term commitment to build a brand for then something long term. Because I'm not convinced that our culture is ready for 9 months of committed football.
Correct.
So I don't know, you know, if you've touched on things like that or looked at that.
Again,
He's on the ball.
you're hired. May I say kid? You're hired, kid, because you're right on point. You're right on point on that, because you know, when we sat down, I mean, me as myself as an accountant, you know, I have to run the numbers first, and in running the numbers, you know, you're right on point there. You have to make it affordable. And when you speak in season tickets, it's not a culture that Trinidad and Tobago are used to. So in order to entice them, you have to sit and do, this is what deal that we would do with the bank. And this is where a bank would be one of our partners. And that is not a problem. That is a perfect option. It's a way I think that our fans are going to welcome it, the way we're going to structure it. And I think they are going to be extremely happy with the way we will treat them. And yes, that is something that we will consider and have considered, as a matter of fact. It's almost like you read our playbook.
He's cheating. He's cheating on the play.
He's cheating on the play.
Yeah. Investment. I know foreign investors would be probably our main focus. But is there an opportunity for local investors to get on board?
Sure. There's always an opportunity. There's no prejudice to that. It's knowing that we are in a culture now where everybody speaks U.S. in the Trinidad. If you want to rent a home and it's U.S., you want to buy everything is U.S. dollars. And as long as someone meets the criteria, there is no doubt that they will be shunned to become an investor. The doors are open. But knowing the current economic climate in the Caribbean, our first objective was to pre-sell this thing to come in, because our budget is tremendous to run a project like this, and for it to be economically viable, we have checks and balances, and we have capital outlay, operational costs, and our ROI over a period of time. So, yes, we'll make it available, but most of it, I think, have already pre-sold at this point in time now as we speak.
And your head office is not going to be in Port of Spain, right?
You know what?
Everything is in Port of Spain.
You know what?
Look at South Trinidad sometimes.
You know what? I am considering the East. I'm considering Tobago. I'm considering, and now that you're making that available for me in South, I could consider South as well.
Exactly.
Because one of the things is, you're right. Everything is consolidated in town. I'm looking at town for the past few weeks and months. I've been traveling back and forth, to execute this project, and I'm saying, the city is no longer the city that I left.
Right.
So I'm not really thrilled with it. And of course, we don't have to be in the city to conduct our business. Our business is pretty much international by phone. What we have to do, it doesn't have to be in the city. So I don't think that unless the mayor want to cut me a deal that I can refuse to keep me in Port of Spain.
I understand that. I have this magazine here, or this is your official business model.
Yes, yes.
And I would surely read it, and maybe we can take a shot at that, and know that these guys are serious and for real, and they've put a lot of efforts and a lot of information into this document that they want to lay out for us in Trinidad and Tobago. And I really appreciate that you guys doing that. And I'm sure you have something to say
I had a
on that.
look at the document. It looks like probably about 35 to 40 pages. But what I would say, it does show that saying about there's no such thing as failure. I think everything that you've gone through for the last few years with the project, you've sort of found the solution. Because one of my biggest concerns was the travel between the islands when we always speak of the Caribbean League. Because a lot of people don't know, but some of the taxes on the flights are actually what cause the price to be more.
That's right.
So we fly to Miami for $400 US, $500 US on a good day. Or we could go to New York, much cheaper than going to Bahamas or Barbados, because these places are not direct flights. And some of them you have to stop 2-3 places to reach the St. Kitts, when you could probably go to other countries for much cheaper. So holding it in Trinidad and then building the brand to then reach the point where maybe we have the airlines or the government saying, here what, we're going to subsidize because we want it in our countries, or whatever the case is. So I think you found, if there were 10 problems, you found the 10 solutions. And I guess that has to come from the years of looking at the market, seeing what will be upside and the downside, because I think the Caribbean is the only untapped region in football that we have not been able to see what is the best of the Caribbean. We've seen it happen in Latin America. We've seen it in North America. We've even seen Africa, even if it's not their league, but we've seen their players at the highest level. But we've not been able to get the Caribbean on a constant basis to influence in the world of football. And I think maybe this is the start of it. You know, if that was something that you all looked at as well as contributing.
Yeah, the traveling logistics is always a problem in the Caribbean because we're so close but yet so far apart. And I've always, I mean, the taxes on the tickets alone is more than what the tickets cost actually.
Yeah.
So one of the things, you know, I said from the very beginning that we are leasing our own ATR, 72-seater, and we're going to get into an arrangement with an airline that I'm not going to name right now for any USA or Canada caravan schedule. But I can assure you that this league is going to have its own airline. You know, it's going to be branded CLF and it will be on the tarmac. And so whenever we move to go to Tobago for caravan, we are not going to wait for anybody's schedule because remember, this is a brand and you're going live on TV. Right. So you have a set schedule. So when my team have to move from Trinidad and go to Tobago, I can't go in the airport and then I hear a comment, you know, pages telling me that the flight is delayed for an hour. No. So we have to be in control of our own destiny. And from that standpoint, we decided that this is what we have to do. We are bringing in our own buses. So that's to tell you how detailed we are. You know.
I see you have a website at www.caribbeanleaguefootball.com. www.clf.football.
Yes. Well,
right now?
they are in construction right now.
Okay.
I learned that a couple of days ago that they are in construction because I was trying to log on and get on it.
Right.
And then I heard them said, well, no, we shut it down for now because we want to update the information. They actually was waiting until we know for sure exactly the scheduling and everything. Because certain information they want to put there and get it out there so that people could be totally aware of it. You know, they potential investors or what have you. I think in the upcoming weeks, everything will be rolled out.
Right.
We had a beautiful conversation yesterday with the premium artists of this nation, you know, to get on board, and he is very excited. So we have the official theme song and the official launch. And I think Trinidad is looking out for something extremely special for during the carnival period with us. We're going to blow their mind.
You also have your logo for the league.
Yes.
And you have logo for all the franchises.
All the franchise, which we'll roll out during the carnival period as well.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be a bang. It's going to be a bang.
We have about a couple of minutes left in the show. Is there anything else that you want to say or talk to our public with regards to supporting this?
I would like to take the opportunity to reach out to the players,
okay,
the players themselves, because as a former player, I want to put the players on alert that this is no fly-by-night thing, and this is discipline, commitment, tolerance is very important, and to keep your body healthy, because there's an opportunity that you could be on your homeland now and make a decent living from football. Not just the national players, but any player. I mean, there's a process where you have to go through the combine and draft, and if you're selected, you're contracted, and you can make a decent wage to take care. And you're playing for 3 months, we're contracting you for 4 months, but the salary we're paying you is what the Pro League would pay you for an entire year, an entire season. Right. So you're pretty much, and not knocking anything that what the Pro League is doing. The Pro League is doing a fantastic job, but you could only work with your means. Yeah. And this is what you have. You don't have a universal product. We are basically getting investors to propel a universal product. So we will have the resources to do so. And I insist, I chose Trinidad not because I'm just a Trinidadian, but it's something that I thought I could bring to enhance our football and my people. And I'm selfish in that department.
Right. Well, they make...
And make no apologies.
They make the money, and they play year-round. I mean, what else could they want, Remunerado? I mean, it's...
the other thing, health insurance. The players, all players in this league will have a life policy. All coaches in this thing will have a life policy and an accidental insurance policy. So this is no joke because, you know, we played in the NASL. We had years. I mean, when I came back home and guys saying, I know Chinapa used to play a lot in the other leagues, but you and I would not play in those leagues. You know, Winty used to, our friend Winty used to be on me all the time. Chris, no, because I respected my contract and I had, you know, I had insurance. So it's like, you know, making the players and them understand their value and their worth, you know, and letting them understand what their commitments is to the brand.
Any parting words?
Yeah, for me, just once it's community affiliated, so we could have the next generation, because I always believe we have to deal with the 4 to 10-year-old bracket in order for the culture to take a change for the sporting culture. Once they could see something that they only see on television close to home, I believe their dreams and aspirations would now reach further ahead. So just get them involved, bring it to them, and then we're fine.
Good. This is always the saddest time for me because it comes to the end, closer to the end of the show. At this point, I want to thank Axe Television Network for giving us the opportunity to bring the show to our viewers. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in every Monday night at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. to look at us on Axe Television Network. We are Field of Dreams. I wanted to thank Chris, my guest. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, my friend.
It's good to
it's
see
long
you again
overdue, long
after
overdue.
A lot of years, right?
Yes, a lot of years.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, bud.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you for being here. Narada, same.
Always
thank you.
a pleasure.
Thank you for being here. Viewers, don't forget we have an email page, email address. Sorry, it's fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com, and also we have a Facebook page that you can always drop us a line. Thank you for your support. Bring on all the new guests, all the new people that you know to watch our show. We really appreciate everything, everybody and everything and every viewer that we can have. At this point, the show's ended. I say go in peace, and I thank you so much. I'll see you next Monday. Good night.